Hello friends, it is Wednesday, June 18th, about 5:30 Pacific, and welcome to episode 2 of As I See It. Taking a little time over the past 2 days to try and just absorb things. The immediate rush of No Kings, of course, has faded with the news that has followed, and that was to be expected because we know that the regime's not going to press pause on anything. They're actually going to press harder to accomplish what they want, because they know that the people are rising up and realizing the old adage that government derives its power from the consent of the governed, which of course plays to my first point that we all need to realize. We need to express our dissent to this. One thing that I'm looking for, as many I think probably are, is somebody to come out with something definitive that is a plan. Right now, there is a diversity of efforts going on, which is a testament to our strength. There is not, though, still something that I'm looking for, and I think a lot of us are, and that is a definition of what this is, what this time that we are in actually is. The effort by the regime is clear: divide and conquer. Overwhelm us and keep us in a state that we find it impossible to give voice to what we feel. For many, this lack of clarity about where we are is one of the crippling factors to them to be able to step forward. So I have a proposition to make to everybody out there. You know, these are scary days. When you contemplate the, hurricane map, spaghetti map of possibilities, there are just too many to conceive. And it can be crippling. But still, we know where we want to go. The people have raised their voice. We still need some definition of where we are. And that's scary, right? We've seen other nations in this place, right? And very often that leads to the CW. I don't know that we can escape that, but I don't think that's where we are. If you look at British history, you'll find something in their history called the Interregnum, when the monarchy failed and was usurped by Cromwell before it was reinstituted. And that period of time in Britain's history is called the Interregnum, the time between royal government. I think perhaps we are in an interregnum because we do not have a functioning government clearly right now. And not enough of the American people have woken up to the fact that we are the government and that we want to have a democracy. And many people, they may be awake, but they can't become active because there's no definition to this time we're in. How can you get to where you're going if you don't know where you are? So my proposition is that we all begin to reverence this time that we're in as the interregnum, to give us some clarity. Even if in the future it is redefined to be something else, even if during this interregnum there is continued loss of life because of the regime's actions. If you look at the British history and the British experience with their interregnum, there was loss of life. In a CW, there's going to be loss of life. In an interregnum, there's going to be loss of life. And the fact of the matter is, there is already a death count for this regime's actions. So that hesitancy to join in because people are afraid of lack of definition of where we are needs to be something that we all reach out to people and address. However you want to think of it in yourself to help people understand it, the point needs to be made that we are going to get through this. The United States is going to survive. Freedom will prevail. I have been watching Park Rose Permaculture and Indivisible and Hawk and the Midas Touch. And as I said, I haven't seen anyone discuss really making a definition of where we are. So just as a proposal, we're in the interregnum. And where we want to be is with a resumption of constitutional government. And that's a heavy lift that we're really just beginning the process to undertake. Looking forward to the next rallies. Looking forward to more and more people becoming engaged. Really encouraged by seeing the number of people that are on the other side who are FOing. And we need to welcome those people with empathy, with sympathy, with teaching. We need to listen to them and find out how they got to where they are. They've been lied to. They've been gaslit to the extreme. And if any of you have any personal experience with gaslighting or someone who has been gaslit, you know that it's a very insidious process that does not get undone easily. And it takes a measure of bravery. So when people step forward and they say, hey, look, I really messed up on this. I've been lied to. You need to welcome them. You need to give some light amount of praise to them and congratulations for them taking that brave step of saying, hey, I was wrong. Because it's going to take all of us. It's going to take every person raising their voice to get us through this, to make it clear that we are the government and we are not going to consent to this. So that's as I see it right now. As I said, I've tried to stay calm and keep myself focused and encouraged and educated to the extent that I can. Now, how this all plays out, that is the thing that plays on many people's minds and cripples them in a way from taking any action or speaking out. We don't know how it's going to play out. Que sera, sera, right? But what we do is not what we do know is what we want. And what we do know is that we do not consent to this. And to go back to my first point of my first video, everybody needs to do the same and make a video simply saying, I do not consent. Very clearly. Date it, post it, share it with friends, family, whatever. But put yourself on the record. You know, let history be clear. Thank you all for listening. I'll hopefully be on again sometime, maybe today. I am still just on YouTube and Facebook. Have not gotten Instagram and Blue Sky going yet. Really not a big social media person, but in this moment, that tool being there is something that we all need to take advantage of to express ourselves, because the fact remains that the regime wants to take that from us. So go carefully, my friends. Spirit be with you.